What's going on, everyone? Just got done doing a job in Boca in a condo building. She's actually a client that she saw me there, I think it's like 5 or 6 weeks ago. It was towards the end of July. And she watched me the whole time bring down this real big red couch down 4 flights of stairs by myself. And the reason being is it didn't fit in the elevator. The sides of the couch stuck out on an angle, and I measured it, and it was like I think it was like just over 10 feet in length, and there's just no way it was gonna fit in the elevator, even on like a diagonal. And I had to bring it down the staircase, which is fine. It wasn't a it was a heavy couch, but it wasn't super heavy. The hardest part was the staircase had real low clearance landings, and then each landing was a half circle. And luckily, it had a balcony overlooking like each wall. So as I brought the couch down, I had to lift it up onto the balcony, have it overhang, slide it around, pull it back down, drag it down the flight of stairs. It took me like 15 minutes to do it, but she watched me the whole time. That was impressive. After I left, she went over and talked to the neighbor, and they said I was great, and they gave me her card. They gave her my card, and she called me a month later. And I went out to do the estimate on Wednesday. Everything booked up fine. Went there today, got the job done, no problem. So, good referrals. But she was telling me how she appreciated my communication and confirming, because she had someone was supposed to go to her to take down the TV off the wall and move it to the next one and rehang it, because they're doing the floors in there, and he never showed up. And she also had a guy who's supposed to come out and do an estimate on kitchen countertops, because she was going to have the whole kitchen redone, and she was fine paying the price too, and it sounded like an expensive job. They never showed up. So that's a big thing down here in South Florida, and I'm sure it is in like more like high populated areas, but services are very unreliable. So a lot of people appreciate when you actually show up, but let alone communication up to that point. And that's something I've had a lot of customers tell me in the past that they appreciate before, during, and after my jobs. So, like, I always will confirm the morning of when I'm heading there. And if it's a big enough job, I'll confirm the day before just to make sure that their plans haven't changed. Maybe I need to go there a couple hours earlier or later on, because I'm going to be at their house for a little while. Or if I'm booking, let's say 2-3 weeks in advance, I'll confirm like midway, so like a week and a half in advance. I'll confirm and say, hey, I just want to follow up and make sure that your job on the 14th at 9 o'clock is still a go ahead. And then I'll call again a couple of days prior, like normal, and confirm again. And the reason being is, one, people's plans change. They may not want it to, it may be unexpected, a time frame may change, or maybe they need to postpone altogether. Maybe something happened with their move date. And I'm doing it as well because I want to make sure that my scheduling is accurate in the event I have someone else call. Maybe they want the same day booked. And if this job's going to take me 6 hours because it's a real big job and I have them scheduled at 9 o'clock, that means I need to take this next job calling and push them to say 4, 5, 6 o'clock, because I want to make sure I have that window in the event the job runs longer than expected. But let's say that job ends up rescheduling. Now I have this job booked for 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Unless it's a little job, it may take me a couple of hours. Now I'm going to be working into the night. I'm not going to be able to make it to the dump the same day. I'm going to have to wait until the next day. So I just try to make sure my schedule is as accurate as possible so that I'm always prepared for another job or to be able to make it to the dump in time or whatever the case. So that's something I've found to be helpful just as a business owner and as a service in general. And I feel like customers appreciate that as well. And then something I've realized ever since getting the truck and trailer is, if you don't know, my first year and a half I used U-Hauls to do all my jobs, which is actually very cost effective for me. But the downfall was availability and timing. So I've gone to estimates where they're like, great, it sounds good. Can you do this right now? Can you do this today? And it was always hard for me because it relied on, depending on the area, could I get a U-Haul right then and there? So let's say I went to an estimate at 9 a.m. and they were like, great, this sounds good. Can you do this right away? Can you come back before 12? I would say, sure, let me go and check my schedule and double check. I have to go on my U-Haul app and check to make sure that there's a U-Haul available at that time in that area because I'm paying by the mile. And that was always kind of a tough hit or miss. So having the truck with me, when I go out to jobs, if it sounds like, because I'll always ask them on the phone, or if they inquire through my website, I ask to have an inventory of details or pictures if possible. If it sounds like a quarter truck or less, I'll go there with just my truck because I can fit about a quarter truck worth of stuff in the bed of my truck. And I'll always push for same day service. So if I go there and I'm like, yeah, I think it's going to be about a quarter truck at so-and-so price, and I can go ahead and get this done right now for you if you're available for it. And I'll say that before they even say anything about the price. Because a lot of people will say, maybe I could get this done a little cheaper, but if you can do it right now and I'll be done with it, let's do it. All right, and then you book a job right away. You're secured. If it sounds like it's going to be like a half a truck or more, I'll go there with my trailer. Even if it means paying a little bit more in gas, I'd rather secure that job right away than potentially having it, get pushed off for a week, and maybe in the meantime someone else quotes them a little less and they're like, okay, let's do that, and then you lost the job. So communication, I feel like, helps a lot with customers, especially with reviews and repeat clients. And same day service by being available when you do that estimate, I feel helps book a lot of jobs as well. So those are just two things I've kind of learned over time and I find to be continuous help. And I'm sure the going there with your truck on the spot is a common thing for a lot of people, and that's a little bit more obvious. But for those of you who don't, keep that in mind. And that is it for me. Bye.